Please stand by.
Excuse me, I'm talking.
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming.
Warning. What is your name?
I am Jay Ramone, and this is the Jay Ramone Podcast.
If the FCC knew you were doing drugs on the air, shut us down!
This gets more work done more accurately.
I will sit down with bands, artists, chefs, business owners, and fellow Oklahomans to talk about their projects and dealing with day-to-day life.
This stuff can give you brain damage.
This is the Jay Ramone Podcast.
Power of the internet is truly amazing.
This is the Jay Ramone Podcast, and we are in my office, and I am joined by a couple of special guests from the band Ben Quad. And I got to speak to you guys before at the Canes Ballroom. I believe it was a little over a year ago when you were opening up for Cliff Diver, their annual Christmas-like hometown show that they do. And I didn't realize that you guys were the ones that kind of put Cliff Diver on here in Oklahoma City. Joey gave you guys a big plug for helping them get into Oklahoma City and get a fan base going.
That's nice of him. I honestly, it's pretty tit for tat, because I would say the same thing about help with Tulsa. Honestly, back in the early days, that's really nice of Joey to say that. Thanks, Joey. Yeah, I mean that is the thing, right? We were the only two, especially at this point, like 5 years ago, we were the only not the only, there were plenty of other bands, but we were the only bands that were like constantly hustling to try to keep the scene, afloat, it feels like.
Well, dude, 15, 16 years ago, not only were there not any, emo bands, there were barely any emo fans out there. I was one of the few. And so when I saw this scene in Oklahoma start to grow, I got really excited, and I started watching everybody from afar like, oh my God, like they're really building a community and a culture together that helps each other and sticks together. And I was really, really proud.
Yeah, thanks for saying that. So you've seen, because then before us, there was a whole other scene of emo bands that kind of, I'll say collapse for lack of a better term, but you had bands like Life Lessons or bands like Fossil Youth and
dude, Fossil Youth was badass.
They were, they really were. And actually, didn't we played Fossil Youth last show?
Yeah, we played their last show.
Yeah, when we were just a baby band.
Shout out to Joe Payne for booking our first show. He's kind of from that wave too.
Joe Payne, local legend, and I hear Joe Payne's also kind of getting back into the booking scene locally. So hopefully he was there. There are people like that. Like earlier, just a second ago, I said it felt like we were the only ones trying to keep that hustle. That's really not true. We just named so many other people. Joe Payne. We had other bands like My Heart and Liver, The Best of Friends. The Others Like Us were around back then. Bands that
I like that band a lot.
Yeah, they took all of us took that, that kind of chasm that got left when Life Lessons, Fossil Youth, those bands kind of disappeared. And yeah, I'm also very proud of the scene. So thanks for saying something about that. Yeah.
You guys have come a long way since the Norman Music Festival days. You guys have really, worked at it. And now that Ephemera just came out, or I guess tomorrow, the actual party for it.
Right.
And you guys are on Pure Noise and you're touring and stuff. I'm assuming you guys have quit your day jobs.
At this point, yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah, it's still stressful and it's still a hustle, and there's so many numbers we were talking about before we started recording. There's so many numbers you got to worry about. But we are fortunate enough that at this point, I think Isaac, our drummer, still works his day job, but that dude is a saint. He works at a youth shelter, so he just doesn't want to, he doesn't want to let the kids down. What a sweet guy.
Yeah, just gets to go on hiatus, a little vacation time.
And his job has been so nice about letting him be gone for months at a time. And so yeah, hopefully we don't have to go back to a day job. We'll see how the next year goes. That's what proves it.
Well, I'm proud of you guys for getting out there and hustling, and that's the leap that most bands are afraid to take when they go from a local band to this is your business. You are now a business owner, and it's hard for people to take that jump and believe in themselves that they can make this work. And I'm sure you guys stressed about it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I had a 9-to-5 job that I was stressed about quitting just because of the financial stability and stuff. But, the band is basically paying for itself now. It's just having to pay rent, which is, I'm teaching guitar lessons now, and that's putting a pretty good dent in it.
You're learning your hustles that you can do now.
Side hustles.
Yeah, exactly. I've even thought about when we're not touring, now that for the last, year and a half, we've really made friends in the industry on the road. Even when I'm not on the road with Ben Quad, I have thought about at this point, I could totally just sell merch for another band, another friend of ours, and still be in the gig and making that money that way.
There are so many bands that they all have side hustles when they're not on the road. And it evolves from selling merch to being a tour manager to being a driver to whatever it is. And you just kind of figure it out along the way.
Definitely.
Radio's no different, man. Like, it's the exact same. I just don't have to be in a van going state to state. Right. I just do it within the confines of Oklahoma for the most part. So,
right.
So I at least get my own bed.
Yeah.
I am jealous. of that.
One brand of guitars that I have been a big fan of for a number of years has been Reverend guitars. And that's the first thing I noticed when I saw you guys play at the Canes was you guys are playing Reverend guitars. So do you have a Reverend endorsement?
Yeah,
we do. Yeah,
Holy
if you go on their
shit,
website,
dude.
we are on. Yeah, like if you look at artists, Edgar and I are both on the Reverend website at this point. Where we've met Ken and we've recorded with them and stuff, and they're amazing people. What an incredible company! Couldn't say more flattering things about them. Genuinely.
All I'm saying is the marketing guy at BC Rich and Squire missed the boat.
That's funny.
Have the Ben Quad Warlock edition.
That'd be really cool.
Edgar, would you play that?
I want to buy like a pointy guitar at some point.
The pointy guitars.
Yeah.
If you get Reverend to make their very first pointy guitar model,
That'd be cool.
The Vivero Special being a pointy guitar.
there you go.
You got to convince. I think you got to convince the company to do that. But honestly, that is. Oh, I love that.
So did you guys play Reverends before?
You know what? I'm trying to trace it back.
Yeah, what happened?
I think what had happened is we saw our friends in Hot Mulligan were, obviously the first influencers, and they have their whole own line of guitars with them now. But I think I just saw them playing and I was like, oh, that looks cool. And I think a couple of the guys in Cliffy were playing it too. So I just tweeted out one day. I was like, hey, I really want this guitar. And it was kind of a joke. And then Reverend hit our email up. And I think that was my first Reverend is whenever we got the artist endorsement.
Yeah,
that's badass.
Yeah, he just made it. I think literally it was, we saw Hot Mulligan had them. Cliff Diver did buy them. And it was like, wow, those are pretty guitars. Yeah, you just made a tweet. Now I'm remembering that. Yeah. And it was for a special edition one, too. It was for a blue sparkle or something. And they were so nice.
They sound ridiculously good. I don't know how they play. I've never played one, but I know they sound ridiculous.
I've got one in the car. I can go grab it. I'll go grab it after, and I'll let you diddle around with it. It is awesome.
We'll bust into the studio in the middle of Zubek's shift and let you just rip into a solo.
That'd be great. Me ripping into a solo. We got the solo guy right here. But yeah, they are. I hope you get to play one. They are some of the, and I think they really are a tool, in my opinion. Sometimes I'll buy a guitar, especially when I was in high school, and it felt more like a relic and something that I didn't want to drop or really
too scared to play it.
I didn't want to smudge it. I didn't, but these are working guitar. These are guitars you work with.
Yeah.
The locking tuners are insane. It has never gone out of tune on me during a show.
And touring, that's such a big deal, bro.
Huge.
You can't fix that in the middle of a song without stopping or omitting what your parts were.
Yeah. And that reliability has been just the nicest weight lifted off of our shoulders for playing.
Yeah. I mean, artist endorsement aside, probably the nicest guitars I've played, especially for the money. I could buy a $3,000 Fender or buy a $900 Reverend. It's around the same.
Yeah. And when you find, I just feel like there's a lot of really good products coming out of these boutique companies these days.
Definitely.
Keeley wasn't taken seriously by any of the big box stores forever.
Right.
And he's been putting out awesome stuff for a long time.
Definitely.
So I don't necessarily trust the big brands anymore like I used to. I feel like every instrument and every pedal and every piece of gear is totally different. Like it doesn't matter the brand anymore.
Yeah, you got to do your own research for sure now. You can't just go to Guitar Center and expect the guy behind the counter to get you the best deal with the best pedal. Like, he probably doesn't even know. Honestly, that's the I think there is so much information out there, and there is so much you have to go through. But when you do find those companies,
bro, I've worked at Guitar Center. I promise you, he's not selling you the guitar that's the best for you. Right. He's selling you the one with the highest commission for him because he wants to eat lunch.
And that's the unfortunate part. It's not his fault. That is what makes me sad.
That's the model.
It's the model, and I wish it wasn't like that. And you would actually be able to help people in the industry. But we have seen now, being more in the industry, it is very much you really gotta like feel it out in those first conversations with people. You gotta be like, are they really in it for me or the money?
I apologize for selling all of you people garbage ass microphones just because I wanted to eat and pay rent. So I apologize years ago for that. My bad, fellas.
But again, that's what I mean though. Just because you wanted to eat and pay rent, I hate that model. That is unfortunately Guitar Centers like GameStop now, and it's you need to get a true like sense of gear in that thing. I think online forums are still the best place to go to for that kind of stuff.
Reddit has saved my life.
Yes.
Because now there's so many fake reviews when you go to Amazon or you go to whatever website you're buying for Sweetwater, whoever. Yeah. You can kind of tell which ones are bullshit, garbage, and some that are real, but it's not truly useful information. Whereas a Reddit, on a very specific topic, you can find exactly what you're looking for. It's going to take some time, but you can find it.
and I think time is money now, genuinely. Like 100%. I think with the way things are going, time is becoming very, very valuable. And I think it's worth to invest time like that into something good.
Absolutely.
Reverend, or we use what's the one pedal that we both use? Like it's the Limelight, isn't it?
We're not endorsed by them or anything, but it's like this pedal made by, I forgot the company name, but it's called the Limelight. It's like the Touche Amore pedal, and it's cool. Both of us run it, so and if they're listening to this, like, we rep that pretty hard.
We do.
Send them some pedals, fellas.
Please
send it to them.
Yeah. It's just about finding like the best gear, honestly. Like,
and we just missed NAMM. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go. I know you guys didn't get to go either, which sucks. One of these days, I'm going to get to go and play with all the new toys.
Be so nice.
So let's talk about the new EP. One thing that I noticed over the previous singles and this one is there's a little bit of not necessarily a genre change, but I feel like you guys got heavier.
Yeah, for sure.
Where did that influence come from?
I think basically ourselves. Like, we had put out You're Part of It basically in end of 2022, and it ended up being our biggest song. But it's like, we've always listened to music in that lane, like early 2000s post-hardcore, late 90s like screamo kind of stuff. We love bands like Under Oath, Alexis on Fire. And so we were like, what if we just make stuff that sounds like this, just an EP, something real quick. And it just came into fruition just because everyone liked that one single so much. And we were like, let's push this a little bit more.
Yeah, and I think we also made a promise. I think it literally was like when that single came out.
We made a tweet, another tweet.
Yeah, it was Twitter really ruled our band for a while there. But it was another tweet where it was like, if we can get Your Part of It to a certain amount of listens.
It was like 10,000 streams in a week.
Yeah,
holy shit!
And people ate it up, and so we were like, all right, we're making it. And like 2 years later, we went through.
And that had to do with the label too. Why it took so long.
So how did the label enter the fold? Because you guys had gone on a couple of smaller tours and stuff, but you hadn't really just like went out there for months and months and DIY'd it. So how did Pure Noise come to the table?
I think we got to think. This all goes back to Hot Mulligan, honestly. Like,
we got a lot of traction through that tour, and it's like, I think timeline of events. We put out the first record. That kind of snowballed us in the DIY scene. Online, people were finally talking to us about it. We got hit up by like Wax Bodega, our first like real label that hit us up. Then after that, like Hot Mulligan took us on tour, and just a bunch of opportunities have come since then. Pure Noise just reached out to us basically at the same time as a bunch of other labels reached out to us. We actually negotiated for like 2 months like tried to get a good
deal.
deal.
It took us a while to pick a label and to negotiate all these contracts from all these different labels going through.
Okay, so I have a question. If you've got multiple labels there on, who are interested and wanting to talk to you about putting out your record, what's that process like, and what are you thinking when you're narrowing that down as to what's going to work best for your band?
Yeah. Well, first off, you hire a lawyer that does all the talking for you.
Bingo.
Yeah, big part.
Yeah.
Listen to the man.
So we hired a lawyer, Henderson Cole. I think he's out of New Jersey. He does a lot of work with a lot of bands in our lane, and so he basically negotiated like all the terms with them. We had a couple things that we really had like at the top of our totem pole. We really wanted like basically just good terms as far as like masters go. We did not want masters to be in perpetuity, and so we worked out a good deal with Pure Noise and get to have control of our masters after a certain amount of time. And then the other one was just, we're trying to live off this band. So
you guys have watched a few music docs and behind the music.
Yeah, that's the big one. Terms were definitely a big one. The other one is we're just trying to chase a bag. So trying to live off the music we make. So money was a big, factor too.
I think we as a band, the part that you have to be careful about with labels and trying to negotiate and all that stuff is, and why it took us so long, is we didn't want to be starry-eyed. We didn't want to be like, oh wow, all these labels are trying to get it. Like we sat back and we literally vibed it out. We were like, let's kind of lead them all on a bit of a leash and see which one, let's vibe it out with each label and see kind of how we feel with it. Yeah. Because if they really want us and they are in it for us, not just the money, then like we can feel that out. If we take our time, don't go too fast. The second someone hits you up with like an offer, don't just take that. You gotta and
so many bands.
Yes.
They get so excited the first time there's a nibble on the hook that they're willing to give everything up, and then they get a few years down the road and some success and they're broke and they don't own their masters and they're getting an even smaller percentage off of streaming. and then they have to just like fold and start over, and it really sucks for a lot of projects. And I feel like there's so many bands that would have never broken up if their business end of it was set up right in the very beginning.
Yeah, never would have broken up. Or I even know so many bands right now who I feel like it's they're on the cusp, like they could, and so I don't want them to. That's right. And it will continue to happen as long as there's predatory business in an industry. It will continue to happen, and unfortunately, labels kind of are. Whether like we love Pure Noise, don't get me wrong. Sorry, Pure Noise. We love Pure Noise, and we like dealing with them. But at the end of the day, they are a business that we make them money.
Absolutely.
That is the whole point. Otherwise, they wouldn't talk to us. So it is. You have to realize that. You have to understand that.
It's a hard lesson to learn, but you have to.
Yeah.
So tell me about the recording process of Ephemera, your new record.
Yeah, I mean,
it was fun.
It was fun. We basically we recorded with a guy named CJ Cochran out of Tulsa. He's in a band called Outline and Color.
I love that band.
Yeah, he's super cool. We recorded the first record with him, and then we naturally just went back with him just because that sounded so good. And also, it's like super easy. Like we drive an hour and a half to Tulsa and just knock it out. This time around, we went into the studio, basically like tracked all the instrumentals in a week, and then funny enough, I think Sam and Henry both got sick, so we had to push vocals back like a whole like month.
So yeah, like the timeline, I don't know why we thought we could do this. The timeline was we had a festival, we had 2 weeks, and then we had the Wax Bodega tour, that tour of last spring. And so we were like, yeah, we could record a whole Screamo EP in just that, basically just like 4 days within those 2 weeks in between. And so when we went and played at this festival in Milwaukee, of course, Henry and I got like the flu or something from the festival. So then while we were trying to record in
you got the Laverne and Shirley flu.
Straight. Yeah, literally. Yeah. It's like Hasselpfeffer Incorporated. But yeah, no, Oh, it was heartbreaking because we had all the instrumentals. We had even written some of the songs, like, you know, instrumentally in the studio. There were some, and it felt really good. We were all like, "Oh my God, this feels awesome."
And to take a break and have to go back to that, what if you lose that creative spark?
Oh, that's the exact fear. It was so scary, and of course, I was freaking out. Like,
I'm having anxiety right now just thinking about it. And you guys are done with the record.
I thought I lost my voice for good. I was like, what if I just can't ever sing anymore? What if I could never do your part of it? What if I couldn't do like any? It was very scary. And then we went on tour, and that tour within itself was also just kind of a crazy experience, highs and lows of all kinds. But then when we got back, I don't know what happened, but it just turned on. And like I got in there, and I think we did all the vocals in like a day and a half, maybe a day and a half.
Yeah.
Something like that. Just within like 6-7 hours, just knocked out all the vocals. I don't know. It was a very fun experience of being so sure, and then, oh my God, what if this doesn't work out? The label's gonna hate us. We just got on this label. Like, what if, and then back to like, oh no, never mind. Like, we got this in the bag.
Good.
Yeah,
we're
ripping.
So now that the work begins, because that's really where we're at. The work begins now. So what plans do you have to promote this record?
You know what? I think we're just trying to tour as much as possible. Obviously, this came out last fall, so we toured our butt off. I think we toured for like almost like 2.5 months straight last fall.
Yeah, with this coming out.
Yeah, doing that. Obviously this show too coming up on Friday. It's sold out. It's like basically, we talked to our manager and agents. This is like our first kind of like imprint in the scene, like, hey, we're a sellout band. Like, we'll sell out in the sense like we sell out shows.
What I was going to ask you, is this the first time you guys have, because you guys have played 89th, or that room numerous times. Is this the first time you've headlined?
Yeah, first time we've headlined and first time we've ever played a sold out show
in Oklahoma.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It feels crazy. I played my first show ever multiple bands ago at 89, like when it was the conservatory, back when the stage was in a different spot. It was different ownership. And it is a crazy full circle moment. Almost exactly 10 years ago, I played that show.
That's wild.
Now playing a headline sold out. Yeah, it's crazy.
I started going there when it was the Green Door. That's how old I am.
I wasn't gonna put a date on you, but all right,
bro. I got to see No Use for a Name in there.
Whoa.
I can't even begin. The Queers numerous times, like as punk rock legends. Like Reggie brought all the kick-ass punk bands through who ran it then. Reggie Wheat.
Wow. Yeah. Incredible.
And then when the conservatory took over, they just continued. The one thing I do miss, though, is I miss Size Records.
That was right next door, wasn't it? That was,
Dude, they had the like rarest records you could find, and every single one had a handwritten sticker on the outside that said "recommended if you like," and it would have 3 or 4 bands. Because 9 times out of 10, you weren't going to recognize the band name, but they would, give you a little help.
Personal help. I miss stuff like that. I don't think I ever went into that place. I knew about it, but
they before Pops existed, they were the very first place in Oklahoma City where you could get all of the crazy sodas, like all the weird flavors and independent sodas was at Size.
That's cool.
I feel like that was a trap for bands because they were gonna give them their money, for the show, and they're just gonna walk right next door and spend it on records and soda.
We have found that on tour for sure. A lot of venues we'll go to, we have hours to kill, and it's like, oh, I just got my per diem, and I heard there's a thrift stop or a thrift store right next door. Or there's a record shop right across the street, or there's a guitar store, like an antique guitar store right across the street. It is a trap. It is always a trap.
How difficult is that, or what is it that you guys collect on the road?
Good question. Do you collect anything, Edgar?
Literally all my money that I make on tour, that I'm spending on tour, is towards food.
Towards food.
Yeah.
Good food is really good. I'm like a pocket knife guy. So at least once on the road, I'll get like a nice pocket knife for every tour. And that's about it. That's about it for me. Nothing. I don't know though. I'd like to maybe like Saving Private Ryan collect the dirt from every state that I'm in and just have like a big backpack of dirt. Maybe that'd be kind of fun.
Did you guys see that Warped Tour is coming back?
We did. We were on tour with a lot of our friends when they were getting the "You're on" emails. It was kind of fun to see behind the scenes people getting, those emails months ahead of time, like, "Hey, you guys are in," and it was very cool to see.
Come on, Vans, what are you doing?
We weren't big enough. We were not.
Send
big enough.
Ben Quad the email.
Maybe next year.
There's got to be a smart punk stage or something. The side stages were my jams.
Oh, 100%. And I know a lot of our friends like and are playing a lot of those stages, right? Isn't or no?
I don't think they've announced them yet, but maybe this episode will come out later.
We might have to edit this
I'll
part
have to
out.
censor that part.
Yeah, you'll have to censor that
beep,
part.
beep, beep, beep.
That would be. I didn't realize that wasn't announced yet.
Yeah, I will. I'll make sure and do that for you, fellas.
Thank you. Whoa, I'm turning red. Thanks, Edgar. Okay, all right. So we'll bleep those names out, but we have some friends who got. So I don't know though. We just weren't big enough to get those emails yet. But next year, I think.
How many Warped Tours have you guys been to?
I just went to the last one they did, and I was interning in Baltimore at the time, so I went to that one. It's
Nice.
cool. Turnstile did. I think they were just on that date, so they did like a hometown Warped Tour set, and that was nuts.
I went to the one in Dallas. Of the last run, and it was very nostalgic for me. The first one I went to, I had a media pass, and I didn't really know what I was getting into, and it was an all access pass, and I don't know if that was a mistake or what, but I'm like in areas that I like probably shouldn't have been in, and I'm like seeing all of my heroes, and I'm like, this is absolutely incredible. But getting to watch Ozma, and be in between the barricade and the main stage, and the same with Alkaline Trio. Yeah, I was hooked.
Crazy.
That was it. And so after that, I tried to go every year, whether I was working or not. And so to see that it when it was going away, it made me really, really sad. But now to see that they're at least doing a mini comeback.
Yeah, they're trying. I guess we'll see what happens. I think the problem with Warped Tour is like with the way prices of everything are going. That is such a hard concept to keep on the road with that many people.
Dude, a tour with one stage and 4 bands is hard enough to keep on the road. And you put 100 bands in 5 or 6 stages, that's damn near impossible.
Yeah.
I know people who've worked it, and I'm like, no, thank you. Thank you.
So that, maybe they'll figure out a way to bring it back in its full size like they used to. But to me, I think it's going to be those weekend long festivals now is kind of just how every industry thing is going that way. I don't know. And
you guys should have been on the emo cruise. You guys should have gotten that call.
I am not a fan of water or the ocean, so unfortunately, even if Hawthorne Heights or Bowling for Soup hit us up, I don't know if I would do it. I'm just so afraid of those things. It's so scary.
I don't know if I fit on a cruise ship or not, and so I would need to know ahead of time, because I can only hit my head on doorways so many times before I'm having a miserable moment here. But yeah, I think that's kind of the cruises kind of took the place of Warped Tour for a little bit. So we'll see if those continue.
Yeah.
But speaking of Hawthorne Heights, what about a band that just never stops? I love that band so much, and I was made fun of so hard in the beginning for liking that band, and to see them be legit and real, genuine, good humans,
right?
That makes me fucking happy.
Yeah, didn't they do the whole For Lovers tour? That was almost a little mini Warped Tour.
Dude, I thought it was the coolest thing ever, and the way they announced the bands that were getting to be a part of it, thought that was super cool.
Yeah, they're on Pure Noise, aren't they?
Yeah,
from an observational standpoint, they, out of all the bands in our scene, they seem like the most business savvy. Like, they have their own fest. I think they are a big reason the kind of the emo, emo night kind of stuff came back. They were the ones kind of pushing for it.
Yeah, because they did a couple of those in the early, infancy of it.
Yeah, that bringing the nostalgia back to it. Let's be real. Bringing, now that it's been long enough where a lot of the people who listen to them now have their own families and jobs. They did a good job of being those people still want to listen to this music, so let's make it for them. Let's try to market towards the people who would be able to get like a babysitter for the night or whatever.
Right.
I love that. I think that was smart. That was the perfect thing to do.
And because of some of these older bands continuing to put out music, I'm getting exposed to, which is kind of how I got exposed to your music. I'm getting exposed to newer bands that are kind of carrying the torch, so to speak.
Yeah.
Pop punk wise, there was this band out of Canada, and I don't know if they're still together or not, but they were on Victory, and then they put out another record. I don't even know what label it was, but they were called We Were Sharks. And
that sounds familiar.
I was like, this band is fucking amazing. Like, I love it. And it was straight up 15, 20 years ago as far as the sound. You know, like spot on, like, this is awesome.
That's sick.
I feel like Hawthorne Heights has done that, like influencing some of the emo stuff. There was another Canadian. I don't know why I'm liking all these Canadian bands.
They're great.
Bearings.
We just hung out with one of their ex-members.
Yeah, with
Dallas.
Fitz. Yeah, just the other day. That's funny. We love Bearings. Absolutely.
Dude, they were just one that kind of came up on because of the algorithm that I was like, this band is cool.
Yeah.
I think they were another one playing Reverend guitars too.
Yeah,
Reverend really has done a really
they
good job.
They got a stranglehold on the young market right now.
Yeah,
and like when they came out, it was like strictly blues and rockabilly players, so now all of these younger cats are getting into it. I think it's cool.
Now it's like you see Chris Freeman from and you know Billy Corgan next, their guitars next to each other. It's like, whoa, wait a second, like crazy, so cool.
Who would you tour, or who would you want to go tour with if you could pick anybody?
So many. What's crazy is like when we were asked that question by our agents last year, the top of the lists were Microwave was one of them, and we went on tour with it. Like, so like, I don't know who, Edgar, let's be real about this, because it seems like we do a good job of you know, calling it. Yeah, manifesting. Thank you. Yeah.
Who did we put on our list? Oh yeah. Okay. So there's 3 I have, and then some of them are just me saying bands from that list. But for me, very formative band for me was Algernon Cadwallader, and they're still playing shows right now. So that'd be awesome to be able to play shows with them. The other one is probably Under Oath, and then a third one, if I were just to drop anyone, probably Alexis on Fire. Yeah,
I like those
3 would be cool.
And I agree with Under Oath. For sure. Like the other 2 bands I just didn't listen to as much. So I can't say like, but I would want to go kind of with someone more the way I hope Ben Quad goes in the future. We'll see how our sound's always changing, but I like bands like Pup or like Joyce Manor right now, that fun like mix of just really good alternative rock, but also has a really good sense of emo, you know, like relatability and sensibilities.
Yeah,
I like that mix of alt and emo, you know, and I think that's where a lot of it's going. This whole post emo scene is just the mixture of our old. We all love the Killers and we all loved, you know, Under Oath, so why don't we just mix them together, you know, sort of vibe.
Yeah, I'm down. And I think you guys could pull that off.
I hope so. We're going to try. We're going to do our best.
Well, guys, congratulations on selling out 89th and obviously a successful EP release party before it even came out. You guys had it all sold out. I noticed, what was it, last week? You guys posted that if you didn't get tickets, then too late.
Unfortunately. And we don't even we barely, I think they sold the capacity. We don't even get that many guest spots. Like my family can't even come. Straight up. Too bad.
Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
Don't ask for a guest list spot. Buy the damn ticket. This is their job. This is what they do for a living. Support the team.
Oh, appreciate that.
I want to show everybody the record before we leave. Go buy this record, and I'm sure if you go talk to your friends at Guest Room, they will carry it in stock if they don't have it. I think they do.
Do they?
They might. You know, it's been a minute since I've stepped in Guest Room. I'm going to go today.
Let's go.
Yeah,
on the way.
Do a scouting mission.
Yeah.
Secret shopper.
Oh yeah, we'll make a
secret. Yeah,
there you go.
We'll do like we'll do like a TikTok. We'll make a TikTok about it. Like, do you know who I am?
You guys, make sure you follow Ben Quad on all of the platforms, whatever social media. They're everywhere. So it doesn't matter which one you use, whether it's Spotify or Facebook or X or any of it. Yeah, they're there. Go find Ben Quad and show them some love. This has been the Jay Ramone Podcast.